Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. This is actually a really cool show because we're sitting here hearing extra songs off the new album in between segments here. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Right now it's their 1-2 free sale. Purchase a qualifying old house and pool table. You can get 2 upgrades valued at up to $900 for free. Great discounts right now and always. Games and Things. Check them out. Okay, we got lots more to come on today's show, including... Are there comparisons to be made between the Jerry Green era in UT basketball and the Butch Jones era in UT football? Interesting stuff. But first, Josh, Mr. Recruiting. Huge day yesterday for the Volunteers with Big Orange Carpet Day over there. They had, or Orange Carpet Day. Had a lot of guys on campus. Let's first take a look at, and you just picked 4 names from in-state guys and 4 names from out-of-state guys. We'll put them up and look at the in-state guys. Walk through these guys for me. You got some time here, Josh. Why these 4?
Yeah, and far more names we could have put on the screen. Too many to list, really. But I start with DeAndre Lideker as he committed to Tennessee earlier this week. One of the top players at his position in the country and certainly in the state. And I think it was a matter of time when he would commit to Tennessee. He decided to go ahead and do it before Orange Carpet Day. He could have done it this weekend, could have waited a little bit. But he's a big-time get for Tennessee. Jordan Davis, a defensive end from the west end of the state. He is committed to Alabama. Tennessee fans would love to pull away an in-state defensive lineman from Alabama, and the fact that he made the trip to Knoxville, along with a few other guys from West Tennessee, at least helps Tennessee's case with him. Greg Emerson is one of the top defensive ends in the country. He's probably the top uncommitted player inside the state of Tennessee. And DeAndre Lideker, as well as Brant Lawless, another committed in-state defensive lineman. They have a good relationship with Greg Emerson. He's been to Tennessee several times, knows his way around campus. Also has Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson as top choices. That's the level recruit he is. And then Cam Jones, a really good athlete from West Tennessee as well, could play wide receiver. Tennessee would love to get a top athlete in the state as well.
Okay, very good. Now let's flip it on over. Well, let me ask you this first. We actually, it's not actually a question, it's a statement. You said they could put a lot of names up there. They weren't expecting a ton of commitments this week.
Right.
And last year, they got a bunch of commitments. But it really didn't, there wasn't much of a prediction in terms of what would happen on signing day.
Right. Last year on the show, the Sunday after they took all those commitments, we talked about the fact that some would probably sign, some definitely would not sign, and some ended up going elsewhere. So don't read too much into commitments or non-commitments this weekend. The fact that Tennessee had so many prospects on campus, that I think is the story.
Okay, let's take a look at the out-of-state visitors that you had us mention. Here you go, run through them for me.
Al Blades Jr., I think a lot of folks are going to recognize that last name. Blades, connected to Miami, South Florida, really likes Tennessee. Probably going to be tough to pull him out of that area, but he has had glowing remarks on Tennessee. Anthony Grant Jr., a running back, who is really important for Tennessee because last weekend, Master Teague, great name from the mid-state, he committed to Ohio State. So Tennessee wants to go out and find a really good running back. Anthony has continued to show a lot of interest in Tennessee. J.C. Horn is a cornerback from down in Alpharetta. Areas familiar to Tennessee fans. Josh Dobbs. J.C. has shown a lot of interest in Tennessee. Vols are probably a top 3 or 4 school for him. And then Xavier Peters, a linebacker from up in Westchester, Ohio. Linebacker is really important for this class. I think it is every year, but especially this year. So Xavier Peters is one of the top players at his position in the country. And Tennessee staff, of course, has ties to the state of Ohio.
Okay, very good. Guys, with what Josh just said there, I mean, this time last year you got the early commitment. Everybody was happy, and it changed by the time you get to signing day. And it happens everywhere. I mean, right. You had a kid that committed to Tennessee and stayed committed to Tennessee for 2 whole weeks before he decommitted and then committed to Alabama. That's the punter. So how much – it's great to have the ball rolling, but I think when you're looking at recruiting in the summer, you're almost looking at it more big picture than looking at it in details. You know, it's more like, where's your momentum as opposed to, yes, these guys are all locks. Yeah. I mean, how closely are you paying attention to the individual commitments right now?
I am more than normal because so many of these guys are in-state guys that I think it's very important that Butch Jones gets these guys a lot from this class.
With every commitment they get, I think, well, this guy, we've seen so many decommitments. Right. I'll say, okay, well, this guy on signing day, will he be a Vol?
Chuck?
Well, and just think how much bigger this would be if there was an early signing day and instead of the end of December, it was actually in August. Then you would be looking at some things. The news now is when somebody flips. And when it's the top punter in the country and he commits to Tennessee and 2 days later Alabama offers him,
Yeah.
that's when I think you start taking note.
My question is, if you had an early signing day next week, would Tennessee let every guy committed to them sign?
See, I think you're going to have that question in December. I think
I think you are too.
I think
do
these
too.
schools are trying to figure out how to play this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know what all the other schools are going to do in terms of, do you let some of the secondary guys wait? Do you push them to the last minute, or do you go ahead and get them signed up early? How do you handle that, or how early do you take the commitment?
It's
And-
tough
and how early
to. I
do you-
mean,
which
it's
signing
tough
day
to
you
do
work?
that with somebody that's really on your B list or a secondary guy. It's tough.
I
Yeah,
just-
that's a question every year mid-January.
Yep.
So you move it up a month, that'll be one of the tricky parts of signing day this year.
if I was the parent of a high school kid, if I were a high school kid, I wouldn't be here. I'd be out having fun. But if I was the
like-
parent of a high school kid, I would be sitting there thinking, I wish he weren't playing this year. Because I think this year, both for parents and kids, and also for the coaching staffs, I think this one's going to be a little wonky because nobody knows exactly how it's going to play. So this would not be a year I would want to have a son who's a senior in high school and a big recruit, because you know how everybody else plays poker normally. Well, now all of a sudden we're playing old maid, and you don't know everybody's tells, I guess is the way to look at
A
it.
prospect could tell a coach, I'm going to wait to sign and see how committed the coach is to the player.
All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about Jerry Green, Butch Jones. Is there a comparison to be made at all? We'll discuss when we're back.